It was a somber day when a military funeral turned into a shocking scene. As friends and family gathered to honor a beloved general, emotions ran high. The atmosphere was thick with grief, and there were heartfelt tributes being shared. However, the respectful and solemn spirit of the occasion was abruptly shattered when a police officer unexpectedly pointed his gun at the general's casket. This disturbing act not only frightened the mourners, but also raised serious questions about safety and the conduct of officers sworn to protect the community. The cop's action seemed out of place and fueled whispers of fear among the crowd. What could have led him to such a dangerous decision? As people stood frozen in disbelief, some wondered how this could escalate during an event meant for honoring a hero who served his country with dignity. In moments like these, understanding the significance of the funeral became crucial. It was not just about a soldier lost, but about respect for service, sacrifice, and unity. The incident sparked outrage, demanding attention to issues of racism and authority in law enforcement. Little did anyone know that this would mark the beginning of a long legal battle and calls for justice that would resonate far beyond that tragic day. In the aftermath of the shocking incident, attention quickly turned to the officer involved. His name was Officer Mark Henderson, and he had a troubling history that raised alarms well before that fateful day. Over the years, multiple complaints have been filed against him for inappropriate behavior and accusations of racial profiling. Community members had described encounters with him as aggressive and biased, leading to growing mistrust of law enforcement in the area. Henderson's record showed a pattern of misconduct, which included disputes with civilians and reports of excessive force during arrests. Some community advocates had even called for his suspension in the past, fearing that he posed a danger not only to individuals he interacted with, but also to the reputation of the police department itself. Despite these warnings, he remained on duty. As news of his actions at the funeral spread, many in the community reflected on how his behavior fit into larger conversations about racism and accountability in policing. People wondered how someone with such a background could still carry a badge and a gun. The incident not only shocked mourners, but also reignited debates about the need for reform and greater oversight within police departments nationwide. The funeral for General Thomas Reynolds was a significant event for both the local community and the military at large. General Reynolds had devoted over 3 decades to serving his country, earning respect and admiration from soldiers and civilians alike. He was known not only for his bravery in battle, but also for his commitment to community service and mentoring young service members. His passing left a profound void, as many looked to him for guidance and leadership. As the day of the funeral arrived, the atmosphere felt heavy with both sadness and gratitude. Friends, family, and fellow soldiers gathered to pay their final respects, sharing stories of his courage and the many lives he had touched. The community came together, reflecting on how he had bridged gaps between veterans and civilians, promoting healing and understanding. In the context of such a meaningful ceremony, the unexpected act of violence by Officer Henderson transformed an occasion meant for honoring bravery into chaos. This stark contrast amplified feelings of grief and anger among attendees who felt that disrespect was shown not only to the general, but also to the values he had embodied throughout his life. The event was supposed to be a celebration of life and service, making the disruption even more heart-wrenching. As the funeral unfolded, witnesses were left in shock as they recounted the terrifying moment Officer Henderson pointed his gun at the casket. Many attendees described feeling a wave of fear wash over them. One close friend of General Reynolds, Sarah Mitchell, recalled how she was in the middle of sharing a heartfelt memory when she heard the click of the gun. "It felt like time stopped," she said, her voice trembling. "I couldn't believe what I was seeing. We were there to honor a hero, and suddenly everything turned upside down." Another soldier, Mark Thompson, spoke about the confusion that ensued. People were screaming and ducking for cover. "It was surreal," he shared. "I thought we were going to lose more lives that day." The atmosphere shifted from mourning to panic in an instant, with many struggling to comprehend why an officer would behave in such a manner during a sacred ceremony. Others expressed feelings of betrayal, emphasizing that this act of violence not only disrespected General Reynolds, but also threatened the unity and respect fostered within the community. The emotional testimonies serve to highlight just how deeply this incident affected everyone present, leaving lasting scars on a day meant for honoring sacrifice and bravery. Following the shocking incident, legal charges were swiftly brought against Officer Mark Henderson, reflecting the gravity of his actions at the funeral. Authorities classified his behavior as assault with a deadly weapon, a serious offense given that drawing a firearm during an emotionally charged event created an immediate threat to the lives present. The charges were further complicated by the context of his actions. This was not simply a matter of misconduct, but an act that demonstrated a blatant disregard for the sanctity of life and respect for those gathered to honor a fallen hero. Henderson faced multiple counts, including attempted assault and carrying a weapon in a reckless manner. The prosecution argued that threatening a crowd while pointing a gun, especially at the casket of a respected military figure, was particularly egregious and warranted severe punishment. Under law, threats made during such significant situations are treated with utmost seriousness, as they not only jeopardize everyone's safety, but also symbolize a broader societal concern regarding authority figures misusing their power. As the legal proceedings began, many in the community watched closely, hoping for justice that would affirm their fears regarding police conduct and hold Henderson accountable for instilling fear in a space meant for remembrance and peace. After a tense trial, the court made a significant decision by sentencing Officer Mark Henderson to life in prison for his actions during the funeral. The judge emphasized the severity of the officer's behavior, stating that his reckless disregard for life during a sacred moment demonstrated a deep betrayal of public trust. Family members of General Reynolds expressed relief at the verdict, feeling that justice had been served for their loved one and for all those present at the ceremony. General Reynolds' daughter, Emily, shared her gratitude, stating that no sentence could truly make up for the trauma caused, but hoped it would serve as a warning against future acts of violence by those in power. Community leaders also voiced their approval, seeing the ruling as a crucial step towards accountability within law enforcement. They believed it sent a clear message that such behavior would not be tolerated and highlighted the need for reform. As news of the sentencing spread, many in the community felt a sense of closure, yet they recognized that healing would take time. The event marked a pivotal moment, encouraging ongoing conversations about police conduct and the importance of honoring those who serve with dignity and respect. In the wake of Officer Henderson's actions and subsequent sentencing, the local community experienced a surge of emotions, ranging from relief to outrage. Many residents took to social media and gathered in public forums to voice their concerns about police conduct and the pervasive issues of racism within law enforcement. Activists organized peaceful marches, calling for greater accountability and transparency in policing practices, emphasizing that the incident should not be seen as an isolated case, but rather as part of a larger pattern of behavior. Community leaders emphasized the importance of standing together against injustice, urging citizens to engage in constructive dialogues about reforming police policies. Some spoke about their own experiences with racial profiling, highlighting how deeply these issues affected everyday life in the community. The funeral incident became a rallying point for those advocating for change, as they sought not only justice for General Reynolds, but also lasting solutions to ensure that such acts would never happen again. As discussions about racism in policing gained momentum, many expressed hope that this tragic event would lead to meaningful reforms. The community recognized the need for ongoing conversations about respect, safety, and the values that uphold democracy, aiming to create a brighter future where all individuals could feel safe and valued. The case of Officer Mark Henderson has far-reaching implications for law enforcement and the ongoing discussions about racism, violence, and accountability within police departments across the country. This incident has underscored the urgent need for systemic changes in police culture, shedding light on long-standing issues that have fueled public distrust. With Henderson's actions being characterized as a blatant violation of the principles of duty and respect, Many advocates are now calling for stricter training protocols and clearer guidelines on the use of force. Moreover, the case has reignited conversations around racial profiling and bias policing, prompting communities to demand greater transparency from their local police departments. The sentencing serves as a potential precedent that could influence future legal cases involving police misconduct, signaling to officers that there are serious consequences for their actions. As communities push for reform, they're also advocating for policies that promote diversity and inclusion within law enforcement agencies. The hope is that through these changes, trust can be rebuilt between police and the communities they serve. Ultimately, this case may inspire a broader movement toward accountability across the nation, encouraging citizens to hold law enforcement accountable while striving for justice and equality for all. The incident involving Officer Mark Henderson during General Reynolds' funeral serves as a pivotal moment for the community, highlighting key themes of justice, accountability, and healing. The sentencing of Henderson to life in prison demonstrates that there are serious consequences for misconduct, especially when it occurs in such a significant and sacred context. This ruling has been seen as a step toward accountability within law enforcement, reinforcing the idea that officers must uphold the values of service and respect for all individuals. Furthermore, the community's response reflects a growing desire for change and reform in policing practices. The calls for improved training and greater transparency indicate an important shift in how citizens engage with law enforcement, fostering dialogues that prioritize safety and equality. As community members come together to advocate for these changes, there's hope for healing the wounds caused by this incident. Ultimately, this situation has not only sparked conversations about systemic racism and violence within police departments, but also underlined the importance of unity among community members. By embracing these discussions and striving for meaningful reforms, the path forward can lead to a safer and more inclusive environment where all individuals are valued and respected. Through collective effort, healing can take place, restoring confidence in those who are entrusted with protecting the community.